Hi, everyone. On this episode of Let Me Know If You Need a Podcast, we are talking about when you have to explain yourself and usually when you don't. We're going to start with some real life scenarios from ourselves and from our listeners. We're then going to talk about some of the research behind why we do this and what compels us to tell people what we're thinking when we really don't have to. And we're going to wrap up with some tools and scripts to help you get through these moments and feel stronger and more capable, and mainly not feeling the need to tell people. I'm laughing because Kristen's in the wilderness and she's fighting off bears in this episode. More to come. You're going to love it. Can't wait to get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Let Me Know If You Need a Podcast. On today's episode, we are going to talk about the need or the feeling of the need that we need to explain ourselves and the permission slip to not explain yourself when you don't want to. I'm Amy. I'm a breast cancer survivor, physician assistant, and on today's episode, I'm going to be your permission slip writer to do as you please. And this is my co-host, Kristen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen, Amy's forever sidekick, semi-professional casserole carrier, and I'm really good at Googling things when I don't know the answer to it. So today we want to just make sure that you walk away with not feeling obligated to create a 12-page PowerPoint presentation when you feel like you have to explain yourself.
So explain yourself or don't. What does that mean? When we started talking about this, I was thinking about how many times people have asked me, like, why did you decide to go flat and you had your mastectomy? Quick. Yes.
Why did you decide to have a mastectomy?
Oh my God, I'm going to kill you. Yes, exactly. Kristen, thank you for the visualization you've created for our listeners. Yes. Lobbed it right up there. So things like that, things like, why are you not going to this dinner or why are you not going to this birthday party? And I think a lot of times my thought pattern is kind of like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Or don't ask me in that way. And we'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you have similar experiences. And that's kind of where we're going to go with this, is talk about some real life scenarios.
Yeah, I'm sure we've all dealt with this. How have you responded when people, first of all, I'm shocked that people have said something like that to you, but like, how do you respond to them?
In general, I'm a pretty open person. So I usually don't have I have a few things that kind of trigger me, I think, that are annoying. That's one of them. It's gotten much better as time has gone on. So I think I'm starting to carry myself a little differently, just physically carrying myself a little differently, standing up straighter. It's very common, like post mastectomy, to kind of hunch over. But now I feel like I carry myself differently, and then I can pretty easily just respond by saying, I had implants, I did reconstruction, and it didn't work for me. And I'm just much more comfortable where I'm at right now. And the other answer I like to give people is like, living was more important to me than boobies.
Oh, that's a shut you up moment for sure. Yeah.
So I try not to be aggressive about these things, but there's been a lot of people that ask, and I think we have a segment about this later, but I think it's how people frame the question. So I remember when I started chemo, when you do chemo, you have this option to wear a cold cap, which is like very fitted cap that is ice. And the idea is you also wear like cold mittens and cold booties to help not get neuropathy and damage your little tiny nerves. Mm-hmm. But if you wear this cold cap, it is supposed to help you not lose your hair. Okay. And to be honest, I didn't really care about losing my hair. That was like, again, it was like the least of my troubles or my worries. And so, but I got a lot of questions about, I would even get questions in the chair from like nurses that would say like, you can wear a cold cap, right?
It's like you have enough on your mind already. Like,
yeah. So it was probably like 2 treatments in, my hair started to fall out and I just shaved it because I was like, I don't even want to, this doesn't matter. It's going to come out anyway. Why deal with it? It's a huge mess. Mm-hmm. And then there was questions about that. Like, why did you shave it? It might not have fallen out all the way. It certainly did fall out of the way. I was like Mr. Clean, as smooth as can be. You don't even understand how fast you can shower when that happens. But again, none of your business. So that's kind of my example.
Yeah.
How about you?
I have a roommate. He's wonderful. I've been married to him for 8 years. And for the last 4 years, we were living in Puerto Rico on this really, really remote, teeny tiny town where like everyone knew everybody. We lived really close to his coworkers. And every Friday, we did the same thing. We'd go down to the beach and watch the sunset and maybe have a cocktail, which I know sounds like wonderful, but like doing that every Friday for weeks and months on end, it got old after a while. And so my husband just has a really hard time saying like no. And he thinks he feels compelled to like have an excuse.
Right.
But, so like, for example, like he would go down there and I'd be like, you know what? I'm just not feeling it. Like, go have fun. And he'd be
Oh
like,
my God, I don't need to
what do you
explain
want me
why
to
I
tell
need to be
them?
alone. I don't think you ever need to explain that you don't want to socialize
No.
or you're just not in the mood for that type of thing. I know.
No, it
That
just,
happens to me all the time.
and I felt like you don't need to explain it to anybody. First of all, no one probably cares. No one's going to be like, where's Kristen? Like, where is she? Why isn't she
Yeah.
here?
People will ask, I think, in a polite way, like, hey,
Totally.
where's Kristen? But it's okay to be like, she just didn't feel like coming tonight. And it's also okay just to say no. Like, do you
and I don't
want to
have a
go
problem
to
with
dinner
that.
on Friday? No.
No, thank
No, I
you.
don't. And I think it's maybe getting a little better because there's some really great like memes that circulate, right? Where it's like, do you want to do this? And it's like, no, I'd rather sit alone and stare at my social media reel for 4 hours and not
Couch
talk to
rat,
anyone.
yeah.
Yes.
Totally.
Rot. Yes.
And then I feel like that kind of dovetails into like feeling the need to, and this is probably like generationally for people like you and me, where like you have to make everyone feel comfortable with your decision. So, or like what you say. So the other day I was getting picked up by an Uber driver and I was at a hospital. And so he let me in and he's like, "Oh, is this your first baby?" And I'm like,
What?
"Excuse me?" He's like, "Yeah, is this your first baby? Do you have any children?" And I go, "I'm not pregnant and I don't have kids." And that's all I said. He felt
Wait, did
so
you feel
awkward.
the need to explain yourself to the Uber driver?
No, I just let him sit in uncomfortableness because like I don't have to say anything to that. It's not my job to make him feel comfortable with something silly that he said.
Oh my
And he
God,
just
Kristen,
helped
you
like,
buried that lead. I didn't see that one coming. You saved that
man.
for on the air. Jesus.
I know I wanted an authentic reaction from you. But yeah, it was a horrible moment for me. It was very humbling. But at the same time, like I'm really working on this in therapy where like I don't need to make someone else feel better. It's not my
Right.
job to make you feel better. So
Right.
I just kind of let him sit with it. I texted all my buddies and was like, you guys, I'm about to jump into Lake Michigan. This just happened.
Bye.
And everyone was like, 0 stars for that guy. So
Yeah.
anyway.
So I want to go back to that, but I want to, because your first story was about Puerto Rico, we do need to address the bears in the room. Because
yes,
we are no
everyone-
longer in Puerto Rico. Kristen is since moved the family back, her and Colin, and Cappy is the dog, who you may have met in episode 1, to Chicago. But today, Kristen is in bear country, and she's going to demonstrate that with her horn.
Okay, so
Tell
I'm in
us where you're
Colorado
at.
right now. I'm in Colorado at a friend's cabin, and it's really early in the morning here. And to set up, I kind of had to go to this other cabin area to set up, and it's dark outside, and there's bears and moose here. And this is the bear horn I had to use to make sure no one was there. I'm like walking out in the dark, just like
It reminds me of the Parent Trap. Do you remember when they would like
using the sticks.
yes, the sticks? That's great.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Anyway.
circling back, as I feel like another question for you is like, why don't you have children?
Oh,
right?
yeah,
That's got to be a question for you and Colin a lot.
We've gotten that a lot. I mean, not so much now that we're a little older. People just assume like,
You're all dried up.
my insides are upside down and inside out. Yeah, that did happen a lot. Same kind of thing. It's like, we just didn't want
You
to.
don't
We
have
met
to
later
tell
in
us.
life.
You
and I
don't have
didn't
to tell anybody, right?
And I just didn't know what to say to people, but I just started saying like, yeah, it just wasn't for us. We're good auntie and uncles, and that's it,
Yeah. And I also feel like for your friends with kids, there's probably questions like, how are you smart enough to not have kids? Because that's my question to you often. It's like, oh my God, your life is so glorious.
There's trade-offs.
Yes. Okay. So these are kind of our stories. Luckily, we have talked to a few other people who I'm going to call our listeners. might be just people we know at this point. But okay, so one I have is the experience of skipping something that is important to everyone else, but doesn't rank high on your priority list. So Emily is also a breast cancer survivor. She's 34. And she says, last year I told my family I wasn't coming to Thanksgiving because of the chemo. Seems like that should be the end of the sentence. She was just, physically and emotionally wrecked. And immediately her aunt said, oh, but can't you just come for dessert? So dessert, making myself up for dessert would be somehow less exhausting than coming for dinner. Clearly not. If you're going to make yourself up, you're going to have the turkey and the mashed potatoes and the stuffing. So what she said is that, sometimes people just don't get that no means no, which is kind of what we were saying before.
Totally.
And I find it amazing that somebody can't recognize when another person is going through. Again, I feel like the end of the sentence should be chemo, and you shouldn't even have to bring that up. You should just be able to say it's not working this year. I'm not ready to go. Yeah. I know that's really hard for some people. My family, especially my husband's side of the family, has a very difficult time and my husband has a very difficult time of not going. I mean, and I do admire him. It's important to him to keep the family connection and get the kids up there and stuff. But There are certain years where as an adult, I just have so much going on and it's such a busy time of year.
Yeah.
And here I am. Look at me. I'm explaining myself. It doesn't matter. Okay. Did you want to go through one of our other listener submissions?
This one kind of hits close to home for me too. So this is from Marissa, 29, going through radiation.
So young.
So young. Okay, I'm reading this. So when I decided not to freeze my eggs, everyone suddenly became my reproductive consultant. God, annoying. A coworker actually said, "But what if you change your mind? You're so young." As if I hadn't thought about it months with my oncologist. I felt like I had to defend myself every time until finally I just started saying, "It's my body, my choice." Love that phrase. And I'm okay with it, period. And God, that's another thing too. Even with or without the illness, everybody just needs to mind their business when it comes to reproduction. Oh my God, annoying.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Marissa. I'm sure it happens to a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yes. We have one more, which is from Jay, and he was a caregiver to his partner, who was going through an acute illness, it sounds like. But it says, while my partner was recovering from surgery, we told people no visitors. Oh, this one is I feel like so relatable. Without fail, someone said, but we'd only stay a few minutes. But those few minutes meant that she had to put on a smile, cover up her drains, pretend she wasn't in pain. That's not a visit. That's a performance. We finally just stopped responding to messages until she was ready. And I love how you make it very clear how stressful a visit can be in that situation, because it's so true. Having to, well, sometimes just for me, on a Friday night, having to look normal or, put on pants. I don't have to put on a bra anymore, which is one positive situation. Yeah. But when you're in that, sometimes you just need to wallow, and that's fine. I don't understand how people can't understand that some people need to be alone. And I feel like what happens is people are not emotionally intelligent enough to recognize in themselves that they really need someone with them. I have a very close family member who I will not name, but she really needs someone with her when she's going through something. And she wants, she's a vigil person, right? Yeah. She wants someone sitting next to her. And I am the exact opposite of vigil. I am I need to process. I need to be alone. I need social interaction to pump me up for certain things. But when I'm going through something hard, I generally don't want to be someone around me because it's too much talking. I can't get through my thoughts.
I mean, it's exhausting and you're already exhausted. So yeah, I mean, I think that's important to even recognize that within yourself. I don't know how I would be in that situation. I'm sure it's all completely circumstantial, day by day, moment to moment, but you got to look out for yourself and say no. And that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can also just say when I'm ready, I'll let you know when I'm ready to have somebody with me. And if you can come then, that's fine. So at this point, I wanted to kind of pause and discuss that I want to make sure people understand that we're not saying don't ask people about their lives, because it is, reciprocal conversation and, opening
Connections
the door.
Important. Yeah.
Yes. I think delivery is so important. there's like this way to ask a question where it seems accusatory. Like, why didn't you?
Like you're making a mistake. Yeah.
Yes. Why are you not doing this? Versus we had a very good script. Oh yeah. So like if you're just wanting to like connect and talk to somebody about something, is just acting more like you want education from them. Like, I don't really know much about what you're going through. Would you be willing to share? And then what that does is it leaves the person open to say like, no, I'm not ready to share right now.
Yeah.
Or to say like, yeah, the reason here's why I did this. And then they get to pick time
Here's a
and
novel
place.
idea. Just Google it. Just Google it.
Ooh.
Put it in the back burner and just be like, you know what? I'm going to look that up later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you kind of said something that made me think about going back to Jay's example with his caregiver. I feel like also on the other side of that coin, caregivers are probably constantly questioning if they're doing it right. Are they, how are they doing, and like saying things or questioning them or talking to them in a way that makes them doubt how they're helping out is probably really tough. So like, I think it's important to recognize caregivers being like, oh, you're doing such a great job. Not in a performative way, but just like recognizing it and seeing it through them.
Yeah. And maybe the better way to offer support or offer a visit is to just say to caregiver or patient, I'm here when you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to intrude. If you need company, I'm here. If you don't, I'm thinking of you. Let me know how I can help.
Let me know if you need anything.
Whatever you need. Yeah. Let me know if you need anything. So we're not saying don't ask. We're saying ask without assumption, without accusatory tones. Because what we don't want to do is put people in the situation where they feel like they have to explain themselves, because then we're saying things to make other people feel comfortable, and we're already uncomfortable enough. So we don't need to go into, we don't owe comfort to anyone else. So what we wanted to talk about next is kind of like the why behind this phenomenon of why we feel the need to explain ourselves. So it's definitely cultural and it's social and it's hardwired in most of us, possibly more so females. But what do you think?
I think it depends how you're brought up, right? Like you mirror what your parents taught you. But I could definitely see it more in female because, again, we don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. So I think that's probably accurate. Although my husband's a proof point that, not necessarily. So
yeah. So one of the cultural pieces of research I found is from The Good Patient, which is a research on medical sociology in patients. And it did comment that especially women feel like they have to be compliant and agreeable and grateful in these types of situations. So when they are the patient, they feel that they need to, agree with the plan of everyone else and be grateful, like the grateful piece. I mean, they feel like anything anyone does is going out of the other person's way, and they need to express gratitude, whether it's helpful to them or not. So this would be a great example of like someone shows up at your house, stays for 2 hours when that was maybe your rest period. And then you have to be grateful that they came and interrupted your sleepy time.
No. And that kind of also pairs with like the concept of, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be a burden to someone and tell them.
I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be seen as difficult. I want to make sure everyone knows that I'm the good patient. And that's basically, the source was an article in Sociology, Health and Illness, which was called The Patient as a Moral Agent. It's pretty interesting, from 2003.
Oh,
and then
we'll
the other one,
notes.
Yes, show notes. The other one I found was The Cultural Contradictions of Motherhood from 1996. So a little bit older, but it was a parenting study that shows moms in particular are expected to defend every decision, from screen time to snacks to school choices, because of the cultural scripts of a good mother sacrifices everything and explains everything. I don't feel this pressure. No, I do not. And it's very funny because I live in a neighborhood with a lot of moms, and I see moms do this all the time. I don't ever feel the need to explain what I'm doing with my children. I probably do because it comes up and naturally in conversation, but I think a great example is that our kids, I just feel like they can eat 3 times a day like normal human beings. And then they have their own snack bin, right? Which is generally fairly healthy snacks until my husband goes to Costco. But I have literally had people in the neighborhood ask me, like, they will say, like, oh, Amira's been really hungry at my house. Are you giving her enough food?
Oh my God. No, ma'am, I'm not.
No. Could you go ahead and take on my child's feeding schedule? She's almost 13.
Kids just like, they're always snacking. Like they're always
Always
snacking.
snacking. Yes. Always snacking. They are, I mean, see, here I am like trying to explain myself, but I will say in the mom culture, you will get shamed. So many shames. Like, why are you not volunteering for the PTA? Why were you not at this event? Why did you not go to the soccer game? Why did you not do this? The answer is explain yourself or don't.
You don't have
And
to.
then you'll get less questions the less you explain yourself also. That's the nice part. So
I just think it's so bold. It's so bold of people to just like impart their motherhood and theories and
yeah.
philosophies on you as a parent. It's bizarre to me.
Yeah. So another piece of this is that people pleaser reflex that we all
yeah.
have. So the disease
bad.
to please, as they call it. So again, a lot of this, like when I looked at the research, is really rooted in that need to avoid conflict, right? And then keep other people comfortable that we already talked about.
Yep.
So, but my question is, why is it conflict if I don't want to tell you why I'm doing something? It shouldn't be conflict, right?
Well, it's not.
Why do we
I mean,
feel that way? I don't know.
again, I think it's just like how we were brought up. I don't know. I don't know the answer to it, but
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you don't have
And
to
then,
prove worthiness. It's
no,
weird.
you don't. I love Brene Brown. She talks about this in Daring Greatly, that shame thrives when we feel like our choices won't measure up to other people's expectations. So that fear of being judged and over explaining is a way of putting a buffer between ourselves and that judgment. And I think she's really right there.
Totally.
Let me know if you need a podcast is sponsored by Gift Well Soon. Do you have a friend who needs help but is too overwhelmed to ask for it? Let Gift Well Soon do the asking for them. Gift Well Soon, the care registry for life's toughest moments. Next segment was
How do we respond to people? Is it like
tools.
toolkits?
What are some
Yeah.
tools that we can do to help people get through these situations? Who wants
Okay,
to go
so-
first?
Well, I think for like when you have an illness, like you said this best, like I don't have the energy to explain this right now, and it's,
Just a very simple.
thanks for understanding. I think no thank you is very powerful as well. Like no is a complete sentence. No thank you is polite. That's it.
Correct. Yes. What was our other ones? Oh, what's the boundary buffer?
Oh, I like this one. So it's almost like, well, I'm going to state this for the record. Amy, you can always use me as an excuse for anything. So it would be like, then my doctor said I can't. Sorry.
Oh, right. Yes,
Or
I
like-
love that one.
Yeah. Or like,
My husband's an
really
asshole.
busy. I can't. What'd you say?
My husband's an asshole.
My husband said I couldn't.
Yeah, that one's probably not going to work for me because people
No,
are
no
going
one's
to be
going
like,
to believe that one. But I think it's just like, giving people, having a buffer, a person, a scapegoat to, in the instance of an illness, like your doctor, which
Yes,
is
in the instance of
totally
an
fine
illness,
and
you're
fair
right.
and probably accurate.
Yes, your doctor's a great one. I feel like you can also use work. I use work
yeah.
quite often because no one ever, except then you can't use work when you're at work. But, work is a good one for your personal life because you can
Loophole.
always say yes. So our one-liner exit is great. Like, I don't have the capacity for this right now. Maybe I'll be able to talk about it later. I'll let you know when I'm ready to talk about it. Would also be a good one. Using
Great.
a boundary buffer. So scapegoat, give it to somebody else. And then permission slip moment, which is basically just you don't have, going back to the same theme we've had this whole time, is that you do not have to explain yourself, period.
Period.
There is
End of
no,
sentence.
yes, there's no need to explain yourself. You are not going to be perceived as, well, you might
Less
be
than worthy.
perceived as less than worthy or bitchy or something else, but who cares?
Who cares?
Like,
Life's
let
too
yourself
short.
be comfortable. Life is too short.
Wear the horse sweatshirt. Life's too short.
Your whole vibe today is
I'm cosplaying as an outdoorsy girl.
this is very different than. Okay, so I think we're about ready to wrap up. I think what we want to say is just reiterating, if you get put in one of these situations where somebody asks an awkward question, we gave you the tools. Go with it. Don't feel guilty. Keep yourself feeling comfortable. You don't have to make anyone else feel good.
Right. And it's not about shaming the other person. It's about protecting yourself. And that's what's important.
Yes. So if you enjoyed this episode, we would love for you to visit our website, which is lmkpod.com. Down at the bottom, you can send us a note about anything. We'd love to hear from you. But we
share your stories.
Yes, we'd really love to hear if you've got an awkward moment, because I bet your awkward moments are better than our awkward moments.
And how did you deal with it? And what's in your toolkit?
What's in your toolkit? All right. Love you long time.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on Let Me Know If You Need a Podcast. Today, we gave you a permission slip to explain your choices to others or not to. Whether you're showing up for someone you love or learning how to speak up for yourself and ask for the help that you need, remember, it's human, it's courageous, and it's absolutely badass to do so. Please visit lmkpod.com to share your thoughts and give us some explanations. Or don't. We would also love to hear what your favorite comfort food is. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with someone who needs it. And visit us on the socials. The links are at lmkpod.com.